Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with all of you, as always. As I sat down to write what I promised Brian will be brief remarks, I was struck by how recently it feels like we were all just here last April. I don't know if you feel that way too, but as I get older and I age alongside this industry, I find myself marking time by events like the BISG annual meeting. And with the pace of everything happening in publishing, alongside everything from geopolitics to legislation to climate change, I personally often take comfort in that which is familiar. But of course, we all know that comfort alone doesn't move us forward. Change, real, meaningful, and sometimes uncomfortable change, is required to make our industry, our communities, and our world healthier, more accessible, and more sustainable. Indeed, that is the theme of the conference: move fast and fix things. The challenge, of course, is that moving fast while also thinking deeply and intentionally is not easy. In fact, I might call that a superpower. Most of us favor what's familiar and efficient. We build routines that help us get through the day relatively unscathed and with some sense of accomplishment, hopefully. In one of my favorite popular science books, Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman writes, "A reliable way to make people believe in falsehoods is frequent repetition, because familiarity is not easily distinguished from truth." Authoritarian institutions and marketers have always known this. As I thought about the theme of this year's meeting and how I wanted to introduce my friend and colleague for this award, it struck me that a rare few individuals are able to understand the systemic changes in our industry and society that need to be made and can then affect that change quickly. When Lee and I first started working together at IBPA in 2022, I think we were both a little unsure how we might work in tandem. We were perhaps a little nervous and maybe even a little threatened. Unsurprisingly, as I later came to understand, Lee was the first IBPA staff member to reach out to me 3 weeks before I officially started. Lee wanted to let me know that I was already behind in the planning for IBPA Publishing University 2023, and we had a lot of work ahead of us. He had already come up with a dozen ideas for how we could make the conference more valuable, more inclusive, more meaningful, and not only that, he had thought through the ideas and had started to implement them. It turns out I was indeed late to the party, but I felt lucky to have Lee as the party planner by my side and have felt that way every day since then. Over the last 3 years, as we've collaborated deeply and constantly, I've learned a few truths about Lee. First, as his husband Mark will tell you, Lee can always fill the space that's given to him. He's brimming with smart, purposeful ideas to make publishing and all communities more open and accessible, and he is not afraid to share them. Second, with equal grace, Lee is always the first to relinquish space when someone else needs it more. He finds joy in uplifting other people's stories, honoring their experiences, and creating room for others. For those of you who know Lee, you might know that Lee's favorite shape is a circle, because a circle has no beginning and no end, and it can always be made bigger. Third, Lee is a problem solver. He takes macro challenges, ones that feel overwhelming at times, and addresses them through small, intentional actions. We've talked a lot today about small, intentional actions. These small intentional actions add up to real impact. He may not always land on the perfect solution, but he never lets perfection be the enemy of progress. That ability to think slowly and act fast was most evident last summer when Lee came to me and said, "I've been thinking about IBPA and what we can do in response to censorship and book banning. I have a plan, and it's called We Are Stronger Than Censorship." My immediate thought as the relatively new head of a nonprofit was, super, but how the hell are we going to do this? We don't have time, we don't have the people, we don't have the budget, where are we gonna start? But Lee, being Lee, he was already rebuilding the engine while we were going down the highway. He thought through the big questions, laid out a plan, and had a path forward. 2 months later, IBPA launched We Are Stronger Than Censorship with 20 participating publishers and over 25 fiscal and operational partners. Less than a year from its inception, thousands of books have already been donated to fight book bans and get stories into the hands of readers who need them most. So Lee, I'm not going to steal your thunder. I'll let you share the story of this incredible work. And I should probably mention your official bio, that you're the Chief Content Officer at IBPA, that you're the author of 7 and counting award-winning books for queer and otherwise marginalized youth, that you volunteer with the Society for Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, We Need Diverse Books, ASAE, and others. But how I most want to introduce you is by sharing this. You are an ally, an advocate, an author, a publishing colleague, an agent of change, and a friend. And truly, the most deserving recipient I can imagine for this year's BISG Industry Champion Award. Congratulations.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, we have to go to the light?
Yeah, I have to go.
We need a lot of chairs. Hey, everybody. Oh, I have a clicker. Okay, cool. All right, so thank you. That was beautiful. I'm Lee. I'm gay. And what I've learned on my journey so far is that my job is to be an ally to all the other letters of the LGBTQIA2+ community, and also to women and to people of color and indigenous people and disabled people, to everybody that's under-resourced, underrepresented, and today under attack. I write the books that would have changed my life as a young gay Jewish kid, and it turns out those books make a difference for young readers too. One of my books in particular, the one shown in this photo, No Way They Were Gay, which was published by Lerner, has been challenged quite a few times. And through that, I met Dr. Taslin Magnuson. Taslin is the person in the US that holds the data on book banning and works part-time with PEN America and is a beautiful human being. And she holds these sort of Zoom support group meetings for authors that are in the position that I have been in. And through that, Taslin and I became friends. And we started talking, and I just felt like everything we were doing was defense. And I said that the challenge I wanted to work on was, how do we go on the offense? How do we push back against book banning in a way that's not just, hiding for like, oh gosh, all this terrible stuff is happening. So, and thinking about things about book banning that people don't know. So this is gonna be a little interactive. So I'm gonna ask you to read this with me. This is a quote from a teen talking about the impact of censorship on them. Please read it with me. Censorship is a very personal experience, especially for people that are personally affected by books being banned or gag orders. So it's almost like book banning is this like do not enter sign. So the thing is that people think that the point of book banning is the books, the top 10 books. The ALA releases a list and that's what everyone focuses on, but it's not about that. It's about the chilling effect that makes teachers and librarians afraid to bring in any books that represent communities that they know the kids need it. They know the young readers need these books and that they're life-changing, and they're petrified to bring in the books because they don't want to lose their job, they don't want to deal with an upset, parents, and that is the point of the book banning. The other thing that I see from my perspective at IBPA is that the impact on mission-driven independent publishers has been huge. We are hearing from some publishers that their sales to schools and libraries are down 50%. There was one person in Wisconsin who challenged 400 books in an elementary school library. All 400 books were removed for 4 months while they were reviewed. Almost all of the books went back on the shelves at the end of those 4 months, but think about it, an entire semester, all those kids lost access to all of those books. So the idea for We Are Stronger Than Censorship is, what if we bought and donated 2 books to offset every 1 book challenge? What if we made the numbers work against the book banners? The more they ban, the more we buy and donate. So, and you can see on our logo, it is a do not enter sign that's opening up to reveal it's a book being read, which I'm quite happy about. So how are we doing this? So as Andrea said, this is completely scrappy, all in-kind donations, no budget, all sweat equity. So we are taking donations. Every $16 buys and donates 2 books to offset 1 book challenge. So people are donating money. They're buying t-shirts like my t-shirt, Strong Like a Reader. It has the logo on it. We have lots of different versions of this. And every shirt or sweatshirt is $16 to buy 2 books to donate to offset 1 book challenge. And the IBPA bookstore catalog is donating money as well. This is a project we started in the pandemic where the catalog raises money for good causes. We've done NABU, we've done We Need Diverse Books, and now we're doing this more homegrown project. And oh, I have a friend that is a fundraiser, and she said, Lee, stop asking for just $16. So in her honor, every $160 buys and donates 20 books to offset 10 book challenges. So the idea we launched in September, as Andrea said, and the idea was we figured, looking at the statistics, that we figured there were going to be about 1,000 books challenged in September of 2024. So our proof of concept goal was, let's see if we can raise enough money to donate 2,000 books. And I'm announcing here today that we just passed $16,000 in donations, and we are going to be able to donate 2,000 books. So that's news. I'm very honored that I'm the person that gets that pretty award, but I didn't do this alone. It wouldn't have happened without Andrea agreeing to make it part of what IBPA does. It wouldn't have happened without Taslin, and it also wouldn't have happened without John Traska, who has been basically became our 501c3 fiscal sponsor for the program. So when you donate that $160, it is tax deductible, and that's because of John, and he helped us by setting up the website, and every library institute has been a great partner in this. And those are not the only partners. We have 20 publishers, 20 independent publishers, each have 1 book in the program. So these are our picture books for the first year. These are our chapter books and middle grade titles and all the publishers. And these are our young adult and adult titles. So these are not our only partners. We also have distribution partners all across the country that are helping us take the donated books and give them into the hands of the readers. We also have bookstore partners. And the photo is from Under the Umbrella Bookstore, where we say, look at the collection of 20 books, choose whatever books you think are going to do well in your community, put them on the shelf, and we'll give you a little shelf talker. And that's what the shelf talker is. And the call to action is buy the book for the customer, buy the book in the store for yourself or for the store to donate. And then it becomes decentralized. And then suddenly these books are being donated, and we can't even keep track of how many books are being donated, but we don't care. Because the point is to push back against book banning. And then these are other partners that we've had. Basically, all I do with this program is try to get partners. I'm just going to shout out to the ones on the top row. AmazeWorks is doing a free discussion guide for every one of the 20 books. Learner donated the logo design. Every Child a Reader has set aside some funds to help with shipping costs. And LibraryWorks and Forward Reviews are partners because they are sending a quarterly email out to their communities talking about the program, and they're giving us some ad space on their websites and e-newsletters. And here's the opportunity. We are trying to figure out how to pull the brakes on this runaway train. And I would love it if you have ideas about how you can reach your communities, about something your publishing house can do, your distributor. We want more partners, because the bigger we can make this, the more it will act as brakes on this runaway train. Last year, it turned out 10,046 book challenges happened, and how much can we push back together is really my question. I think about that person in Wisconsin that challenged 400 books, if they knew that 800 books were going to be purchased and donated in response to their challenging 400 books, maybe it would have slowed their roll. And what can we create collectively? We can build momentum. We literally have not talked about this program except for 2 weeks in September and then the last month, because there was a lot of other stuff going on. But now is the time to start to build momentum on this. We've proven the concept, and we're super exciting because we have one last quote to read together. This is the most challenged book in the country, by the way, from last year, All Boys Aren't Blue. Okay, together. I yearned growing up for narratives that spoke directly to my experiences, that assured me that my identity, both as Black and queer, was not only valid, but beautiful. It was through books like All Boys Aren't Blue that I discovered a narrative that resonated with my own. I felt it was really important to bring in the voices of teens that are impacted by the book challenges. I really want to thank you for giving voice to their voices with me. It's life-changing and life-saving to get diverse books into the hands of the readers for whom it will mean so much. I'm really touched to get to talk to you about this program. I'm very honored to be honored with this award, and thank you. And come on, let's see how much we can push back together.